overload because there's so much. What's the beauty in this? The beauty in this is you go home at night and you can watch it again and again and again. Formed.org, Symbolon. Okay. And the other thing that I'll add before we get into what I want to get into, we had a question and answer session on Sunday night. And this was something, we just had our dollar dinner, and then we said, hey, if anybody wants to come downstairs, we're going to be doing Q&A. We did an hour's worth of questions from about 20 students. And I love the fact that they were there. But the most important thing that I said to them was this: learners learn by learning, not so much by being taught. And so I just want to inspire you as well to keep that in mind, that if you desire to really learn this faith, then learn it. Don't wait for somebody to step up in front of you and teach you. Now, it's important to have teachers, absolutely, but yet learners will find a way to learn. And if you have the questions, seek out an answer. Come find me, yes, but also utilize all of the resources we provide for you. Learners learn by learning, not by waiting for somebody to stand in front of them and teach them. I just really believe that's a true statement. Okay, the thing I want to say about this evening's topic, I think one of the questions that rises as we always look at creation and then the fall is why? Why did God create us in this way that we would even have the capacity to sin, to fall, to harm other people, to harm ourselves, to harm society, and to even hate God? Why would he have created us in this way? Because all of the horrors of the world have come because of humanity's decisions to go against what God wills through sin. So why would God have ever created us in that way? It's a thing I get in Q&As from people who are in their 70s all the way down to 7-year-olds. And I just think that the best explanation I've ever heard would be something like this. Sarah, this is Sarah, she's sitting front and center. Sarah, let's just say that a little later today, you bring to me handsome and kind and loving Jimmy. Jimmy will be his name today. If there's any Jimmys in here, I'm sure you're handsome and loving and kind and loving. So anyway, Sarah is madly, deeply in love with Jimmy. And Sarah starts to tell me the story of her and Jimmy. It started about 4 years ago. Jimmy met Sarah. Jimmy asked Sarah on a date in the kindest of ways. And ever since then, Jimmy has been opening Sarah's door. Jimmy has been just nothing but a total gentleman. Jimmy even got down on a knee in such a romantic way 9 months ago, asked for Sarah's hand in marriage. Let's say that Sarah and Jimmy are getting married this Saturday, right, Sarah? How's it? She's like, tell me where this guy is. Tell me where this Jimmy can be found. So you're getting married on Saturday, and on Friday night it is revealed to you that all along Jimmy was forced to love you by his parents. How would that make you feel? Hurt. She said she would feel hurt, but why? Jimmy still asked you out in a very romantic way. Jimmy still opened the door for you. Jimmy still has shown you much affection. He's done all of these great things for you. He's very romantic at the proposal. Why are you hurt, Sarah?
Because there's no feelings.
She says because maybe there was no feelings behind what he did. And ultimately what Sarah is saying is that any love that is not free is not true. It's not a true love. A forced love could never be a true love. That makes sense, right? Raise your hand if that makes sense to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was the greatest gamble that God took as well. You see, God knew love. God is love. An eternal procession, Father, Son, and Spirit. Always back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just so much who he is that he said and he recognized and he noticed this is the best of things. Love. And so he created creatures with the capacity to love. And those creatures are called human beings. But if you're going to have the capacity to love, and it's going to be true love, then you have the freedom, correct, to not love. To choose against love, to choose against God. He will create you and he will love you, but he will not force you to love him back. And when, in fact, then you choose to love him back, then it is a true love, a profound love, a love that is worthy of creating and recreating. That's why. He could have made us all perfect little robots. And he could have even made us do things that looked like love for one another and for him. But it would have been some sort of a fake, false world that would have never been truly real as we know it to be now, because it wouldn't be free, and the love that existed then would not also be free. It would be a forced love, therefore not a real love. The greatest gamble of all time. And more than likely, he knew, obviously he's all-knowing, that things would eventually go astray. It didn't take long. It didn't take long. If you read the Old Testament, it's simply man's desire to get back to God. And they'll fall on their knees and they'll pray and they'll say, God, we have made a mistake. We desire to be back in your communion, in your graces. And as God would open his arms and welcome them back, and things would start to get better, then eventually they would forget about the past, and feeling as though they were in control of all things and they again were God, they would fall. And the entire Old Testament is just filled with these stories of the rise and fall of humans in the midst of their desire to love, yet also in the midst of their stupidity. And it still ravages within all of our hearts as well. But at one given time, Jesus comes to earth. God the Father says, I will at this time make it all right. I will make it right with my people, because my people don't have the ability to do what it takes to make it right with me. We simply don't have that capacity. Only God can give that to us. And that's why he sent Jesus on earth, to show us what love really means, to teach us how to truly love, how to truly sacrifice. And that's it. That's it. Creation, fall, and redemption. That which I just said is the Bible in a very tiny nutshell. And what they're going to talk about is those very same topics. Creation, fall, and redemption. And in the end, what is it all about, Father Ryan? It's all about love. But you said this earlier today. You said all they focus on is Jesus. You said they don't focus on the covenant enough. You said Jesus, all about Jesus. They keep talking about Jesus, all about Jesus. Remember, didn't you tell me that? All about Jesus, all about Jesus. He did. And so that's what I want you to focus on. The reality that it is, truly is, all about love, covenant, but most profoundly, Jesus. As normal, we'll go video, and then Q&A, break, and then Q&A, and then we'll conclude with discussion.